Open sea. No wind. No sound. Just the slow, indifferent roll of dark water stretching to the edge of the world. And then, on the horizon, a shape. This is not history as you learnt it. This is 10 minutes. Real time. The last 10 minutes before everything changes. The Golden Age of Piracy. Caribbean waters, early 18th century. A merchant vessel carrying goods, crew, and the quiet assumption of safe passage. It was a common assumption. It was often a fatal one. "10 minutes out, a lookout in the rigging catches it first. A dark shape, low in the water, moving. He says nothing for a moment, because saying it makes it real. In the age before radio, before signal flares, before any of the tools we now take for granted, distance was your only warning. And distance was shrinking. The crew does what humans always do in uncertain moments. They tell themselves it's nothing. A fishing vessel. A navy patrol. Anything but the worst possibility. "8 minutes out. The captain raises a spyglass. One long look. The shape has a hull. It has masts. It has speed. More speed than any honest vessel needs in open water. Word moves across the deck the way fear always does, quietly at first, then all at once. Men stop. Men stare. The word spreads before anyone speaks it aloud. Historical records from captured vessels tell us what happened in these moments. Not heroics, not calm, confusion, shouting. Arguments about what the ship might be, what it might want, what might still be done. They came upon us with great speed, and we knew then there was no honest purpose in their course. "6 minutes. This is the moment the captain earns, or fails, his command. Two choices. Neither one clean. Neither one guaranteed. Running meant changing course, trimming every sail, catching whatever wind existed, and hoping the attacking vessel was slower. Most merchant ships were not built for speed. Most pirates were. Fighting meant standing your ground with whatever guns you had, and praying they were enough. Many merchant vessels carried small arms. Few carried enough to hold off a determined pirate crew. The pirates knew this calculus better than anyone. Their advantage was not always firepower. It was the threat of firepower. The suggestion of what would happen if you chose wrong. "4 minutes. The distance is no longer abstract. You can see the individual sails now. You can see figures on the deck. And then, the flag. The black flag, the Jolly Roger, was not merely a symbol. It was a weapon, a calculated act of psychological warfare refined by decades of pirate practice. It said one thing: surrender now, and you may live." Bartholomew Roberts, Edward Lowe, Charles Vane. These men understood that the flag did more damage than cannon fire. Resistance collapses before the first shot is fired. That was the design. We put up the black flag and fired a gun, upon which they immediately struck and came under our stern. "2 minutes. On the merchant deck, something fractures. Not the hull, the crew. Men who worked together for weeks suddenly become strangers to one another." This is what the historical record confirms. Not unity, not heroism, but the full spectrum of human response under mortal pressure. Some froze. Some prayed. Some reached for weapons they barely knew how to use. On the pirate vessel, the scene was different. These men had done this before. They moved with the cold efficiency of repetition. Every role assigned, every action rehearsed. This was not chaos, it was choreography. Pirate crews drilled. They divided the spoils before a fight was even finished. They had articles, written codes, governing how violence would be conducted, and how rewards would be shared. This was a profession. "1 minute. The merchant captain's voice cuts through the noise. Orders. Real orders, final orders. Whatever he has decided, there is no changing it now. White flag. The words hung in the air like smoke. Surrender meant captivity, interrogation, possibly worse. But resistance. Resistance meant a broadside, meant fire, meant the end of everything, and everyone below decks. Cannons loaded, powder packed, fuses ready. A gun crew of 4 men standing at a 6-pound cannon that might punch a hole through the pirate hull, if the aim was perfect, and the timing absolute. If you offer resistance, you will force us to give no quarter. But submit, and you shall be treated like men. 30 seconds. Both ships aligned. The gap between them measured now in yards, not miles. In heartbeats, not minutes. And then, a strange thing happens. Silence. Sailors who had been shouting went quiet. The wind seemed to hold its breath. Every man on both ships understood. The next few seconds would be the rest of their lives. In that silence lived everything. Every choice made in the 10 minutes prior, every failure of nerve, every act of discipline. The battle had already been decided. The violence was just the confirmation. The attack begins. Not with thunder. With a shout. One voice on the pirate vessel. Then the sound of wood splitting, hooks catching, men moving. What followed was recorded in depositions, in court documents, in the trembling handwriting of survivors. But that is another story. This story ends here, in the moment before the answer was given. 10 minutes. That was all the time a captain had to read the sea, read his crew, read the threat, and make the decision that history would either record or forget entirely.